Hey everyone, today I am at Buck Hill Campground in Newland, North Carolina. I wanted to, when we were here for making some other videos, we actually saw this campground. We saw the destruction. It's actually cleaner now than it was when we were first here, when we first drove by. And one of our viewers told us that they had actually been here when they were younger. They remembered this campground just based on the sign flashing through the videos we were driving by and capturing a lot of this footage. I wanted to come here and understand the story about what happened, what the owners here went through, what they experienced, what got destroyed, which is, if you look at it, pretty much nearly everything on this field here, except for a lot of the cabins, some of the cabins. Although you'll see in the video that we share, even that was flooded, so they had repair work to do there. But everything was gone. Everything's gone. Even the bathhouse is just gutted. So there's a lot of work. But I met with Chris, the owner, and Chris is an amazing man. I did not expect to. We talked after the interview for almost another hour. And I learned a lot more about him. He's driven by faith, and he believes this place will be back. His goal is 2025, and his mission is to do that, whatever it takes. They don't have everything they need yet. They don't have the money. They don't have the supplies, but they're starting to they're getting donations. They're getting help. They're getting boots on the ground. I'm not going to say what they need because there are 3 things they need, and he lists them. So let's get to the interview. I hope you enjoy it. I know I did. Right?
Caudle.
Okay, so Chris Caudle, Buck Hill Campground.
Yes, sir.
And the beginning of it. From the beginning, how this campground was started.
So we're not the original owners, but the campground, I have met the original owner's daughter. They opened Buck Hill Campground in 1970. Year I was born, in fact.
Oh wow.
And then my family took it over in 2000, I believe it was 3. And then my wife and I came up in 2009 and took it over, and have been running it the last 16 seasons.
What made you want to take over a campground?
Well, my wife and I had met in Charleston, South Carolina. We lived on the coast, and really a couple of factors. I used to travel extensively, and then we had our first son, Caleb, who was born in 2007, and so we were just kind of had an epiphany of, well, now that we've got a son, we really don't want to raise him in daycare. We needed to, find a more affordable place to live. And literally about that time, within a couple of weeks, my parents, which when they took it over in 2003, they ran it for the first 6 years.
Oh, they did, okay.
But then, I'm the youngest of 4 of all the siblings, and everybody started having children, and mom and dad didn't want to be tied to the campground, so they just reached out and said, if anybody's interested in taking it over, let us know, otherwise we're going to sell it.
So the timing worked out perfect.
It was all about the timing.
Yep.
And believe it or not, we had never seen the property or stepped foot on it in those, I guess, 6 years that it was in the family. So we just planned to come up for one weekend, really just just to say, hey, let's just look at it.
Yeah.
But if being very honest, it's not like we knew for sure, oh, we're going to want to do this. And we spent one long weekend here, and we just fell in love with it.
And that was what year again?
That was 2009 when we came up in the spring. And, our logic was, it was the most peaceful, kind of guarded place we could raise our children. Right. And I will be very honest, at the time, the campground, business was not booming yet. The campground looked like a 1970s campground.
Oh, yeah.
Everything here was very dated. And so we just spent, the last 16 years, every year trying to make an improvement here, an improvement there.
Well, I know in the past few years, this place is very popular for camping.
Oh, it is.
Is it always? Was it like that when you took it over?
Well, it was popular. In fact, we still have a few seasonal campers that have been here literally since the 70s. Not a lot, but we've got a couple.
Yep.
So it has been a family campground for a long time.
Oh, that's amazing.
But like I said, it just wasn't, it wasn't anything like what we turned it into.
Right. And I wish I had seen it before. I heard from people who have come here often. Some of our viewers mentioned this because we drove by here and they saw the sign and they're like, oh, we went there all the time when I was a kid. And they said that they heard that you had been through several floods already before this.
We had, in fact, when my family, when mom and dad acquired it in 2003, the very next year, kind of bad luck, we had 2 back-to-back hurricanes, and after the second hurricane, it flooded the campground, and so they had to do a completely redo all the utilities. Now, we didn't lose buildings or anything.
Okay.
It wasn't anywhere near as bad as what just happened, but obviously not ideal. But they did spend the season to put everything back in place, all the utilities.
So never anything on this scale.
Oh, not even close. In fact,
Yeah.
I can tell you real quick, we kind of just walked by. If you see where that pole is, there were, that's where a mobile home used to be that acted as an office. So the water never came
Never came that far.
past that
Okay.
point. But obviously,
But all of
with
this was
one-
basically a lake then.
Oh my gosh, yes. In fact, I've got video. Water literally came all the way back to my little camping cabins.
Oh my
In fact,
gosh.
we lost 3 cabins. We lost 27 RVs,
Actually, all the way up to the cabins over there.
literally.
Jeez.
And the water was so high, it was literally to the very top of the bathhouse. You could see kind of right up where the fascia board would be. It's obviously ripped off now. That's about how
the
tall
roof line,
water-
or actually over the roof line?
No, right up to it.
Right
like
up to the roof
underneath
line.
it.
That is high.
Oh yeah,
So where were you when it was all going down?
in our house.
Right at the house.
And I can tell you, friend, I wish we weren't. All we could do is sit there and watch
Well, the water was so
the
deep, I'm sure.
destruction. Oh yeah, it was not safe. You couldn't get out. And you know, it came in late Thursday night, all day Friday. The water did not recede until Saturday.
Now, someone told me the people that were staying here, everyone that was staying here, there was an evacuation notice at least, right?
No,
There was no evacuation
That's the
notice.
thing, and normally we are so blessed. Avery County has great, our EMS and
Yes.
first responders. They would normally in the past, like, okay, we're really concerned, we think this is going to happen, maybe you should have your people move out. Well, we never got that warning because I don't think this was anticipated
Oh,
in any
wow.
way. Now, what we did do is that Wednesday, we knew at least it was going to be really, really heavy rains, and we were thinking maybe like before it might come out a little bit.
Yeah.
So we did recommend to our seasonal campers, hey, you may want to pull your campers in the back or pull them out.
That's the warning I heard about. It was from you all.
So
Okay.
it was from us. And again, you don't ever want to cause a panic.
Yeah.
But as we got closer, and we'd already, if you remember that week, there was quite a bit of rain. So the river, even before
really
Helene
high.
came here, it was almost cresting at the bank.
Yeah.
And so we were
And the
like,
ground probably saturated by that point already.
Yes, exactly. We kind of knew when we went to bed Thursday night, and we still had communications, and they said we could get anywhere from 6 to maybe 12 inches of rain, and we knew if that was accurate, we knew we were in trouble Thursday
Okay.
night.
Wow.
And then when we were waiting, and I barely slept that night, when we finally had light, the water was to, if you see where that Bradford Pear is in front of the
Yes.
brown roof cabin, that's where it was at first daylight.
When you got
By
up-
lunchtime, it was all the way back, cabins, and we've already had helpers that came and helped us, but a lot of the little camping cabins had moved. They were just floating around.
But there were people staying here.
Oh,
So
we-
overnight, you didn't even know what was going on?
No.
Oh
couldn't
my
see
gosh.
anything. It was, but we just kind of knew, like I said, when we went to bed, and we hoped they were wrong, but I said to my wife, April, I said, if they're correct and we get 6, 8, 10, 12 inches of water, I said, we're going to be in trouble.
You almost panicked when you saw that and you got up in the morning.
Horrifying.
I mean, knowing there were people staying here.
And I'll share this story with you. We had campers still here, and we ended up having, and I thank God it was a God thing. We had a group, a men's group that was a church out in Marion that came up, and ironically on Wednesday I called them and said, guys, why don't y'all come another time? Don't worry about the cancellation policy. It's going to rain the whole time. Again, I didn't know it was going to flood, but I
Right.
just thought it'd be a horrible weekend. And they were like, you know what, God, we talked about it. God told us to come. Well, that was, thank God for them, because we had about 30 people trapped. So in the back area where the red barn is,
Yes.
kind of behind these cabins, we probably had 20 or so campers that moved back there thinking they would be safe.
Oh,
Because
wow.
again, with the 100-year flood in 2004, water never came further than this.
That's
And
the
we thought,
highest it
oh,
went.
you're half a football field back further, you'll be fine. We were wrong, obviously. And so we had campers up on their roof.
Trapped
As the
there.
water was, oh yeah. And these men, that it was a big group, about 8, 10 men, had brought huge rope and stuff they just had with them in a little trailer.
Right.
And we used that as a line, and we literally rescued, got, with their help. I mean, I'm
Oh,
giving
that's
them all the
amazing.
credit.
Wow.
And helped us get everybody in. So that Friday night until Saturday when it receded, we had about 30 campers in my garage.
All
in my
trapped
house.
up there in your,
yeah,
on your
there's
property?
nothing we could do. And it was horrifying. I mean, to answer your first question, because all you could do is just watch it.
Yeah.
You can't stop it. You can't get out in it. And
utilities, I mean, you can see the lines were down. And
everything. We literally are having to start all the way over. We'll have to put in new water, new electric, new Wi-Fi. We hope that we'll be able to keep our septic, but we're not even sure of that yet. You know, that'll be a process we'll figure out in the coming months.
Now, I did want to ask, and I want to be respectful, so you don't have to talk about it, obviously. I did want to ask about the couple who got washed away. You don't?
Yeah, it's very sad.
Do you mind talking about that? Or?
No, I don't. But
okay.
It is really, really tragic. We had one couple that were in their camper, and again, about in the area where the water came to in 2004.
Were they seasonal?
They were seasonal. In fact, they had been seasonal with us when we kind of first got here, and then they had left. It's Russell and Charlene Wilbur.
Yep.
And then they came back and were with us a couple of seasons, I think. And we honestly didn't even know that night they were here. Oh. But they own I think a paint company or something in Tennessee, and one of their employees called us Saturday to check on them and said, you know, are they okay? Have you seen them? And we said, well, I don't even know if they're here.
So you thought they had evacuated? They had left?
We did.
Oh, no.
And one of their staff said Thursday night, they texted and said they're in their camper and they're going to ride out the storm.
Oh, my gosh.
And sadly, their camper got washed away. They found her body. To my knowledge, they have still not recovered Mr. Wilbur.
Okay.
So
the water was going in that direction. Somebody was telling me about backwash at the time, but it was going that way, right?
Oh yeah,
just full force that way.
Full force.
Oh,
yeah. Yep.
Can't stop walking, I guess. That's just, and that river, just normally it's pretty fast. I mean.
Yeah, I mean it's a decent river that guests enjoy fishing and tubing and kayaking in, but I mean I had read they said there were surges of something like 20-something feet.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
And I mean, said, it was pretty horrifying just to watch.
That force of water, something like 20, 30 miles an hour, something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's pretty fast. Seems a little.
You would not get out
extreme.
In it.
Yeah.
You would not get out in it. And we had another man. I mean, I said thank the Lord for that men's group that helped us save about 30. We had a seasonal couple here that we watched from my house, and we were literally in tears. They were trapped in their camper. They kicked out a window. They jumped out, and they must have landed on something for a little bit that was solid, and then it took them. And this is like an 80-year-old couple.
Wow.
And we just knew we lost them, but it was amazing. Our local EMS, the guy was running UTV, came and found them.
Oh, that's
They're in bad shape, but they are with us still. So we were very fortunate to only lose 2.
That many campers, I mean, it could have been much worse.
Brother, we could have lost dozens.
Yeah.
So we were very fortunate. Again, still very sad that the Wilburs didn't make it, but it could have been times 10.
Having that men's group there probably saved a lot of lives.
It did.
Yeah.
We are strong believers. I know God probably spoke to those men and said, you're supposed to go. Mm-hmm. And if they would not have brought that group and all their equipment, I don't know that we would have been able to rescue them.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So on a positive note, your recovery efforts, I hate to ask because from the scale of this damage here, everything that got flattened, it feels like it's going to be a long process. Do you have a plan? Is the community kind of trying to?
So we 100% have the resolve to rebuild. Okay. And rebuild as good or better than it was. I will not be happy moving backwards.
Yeah.
You know, we were so proud and happy the last 16 years of the way we developed and built up the campground. So we definitely want to bring it back.
Maybe we should go this way where it's drier.
Yeah. And we have been blessed so far. We've had several church groups, some neighbors, even a few campers that have come up to help us. And obviously you can see there's still a ton of cleanup, but believe it or not, it looked 100 times worse.
Yeah, it looks cleaner. Even we were here a month ago and it still looks cleaner than that was.
We've definitely been blessed with good help. But the reality is, you know, the government still, we have not had any kind of help from FEMA, or they haven't announced any type of low interest or interest-free loans for, you know, companies that have lost like we have. So we've really only had this progress because of churches, because of brothers and sisters in Christ that said, hey, we want to come up and help.
So they're only helping people, primary residents, businesses, you're out of luck?
Nothing. Completely out of luck so far.
And there's a lot of businesses affected around here.
There are. And Avery County is one of the poorest counties in North Carolina. We desperately, they need the businesses like ours.
It's not like there's overwhelming funds to deal with stuff like this, right?
There's not, no sir.
So what's your plan for this? Are you gonna basically main buildings, try to get the campground open ahead of time?
Yeah, so our hope, and again, it's a fluid situation, but my hope would be maybe we could at least get this north end of the campground operational by maybe late spring or
is this
early
the end
summer.
right over there, or?
So the property line's about where you see that big pile of metal trash?
Yes.
Right in front of that, those trees, that's the property line. Kind of goes behind the red barn and then to the top of Buck Hill Mountain.
Yeah.
And so our hope would be we're going to renovate and say this is the one building still standing.
Yeah.
We lost an arcade, we lost a well house, we lost our lower bathhouse. As I said, we lost several cabins.
You actually had a lot of big buildings. You had an arcade and
we
everything
did.
else.
Oh yeah, and just watched them like a boat wash away. But we are going to rebuild, and I hope by the end of the year we'll have the campground completely back up and going.
By the end of 2025?
We're hoping, and again, that may be ambitious, but I'm a big believer, set a goal, work hard, have the resolve, pray, work, and then we'll see what happens. But
does it depend on help?
It is help and funding, if being very honest, yes. Like I said, we've been very blessed. We had a camper that started a GoFundMe page for us, and we have received donations from that.
Good.
Like I said, the churches have come. They, on their own dime, rented the equipment to help us. I mean, so we have definitely been blessed.
Local communities really helped.
Local, but believe it or not, we've had more help from churches from, I mean, all over.
Is that right?
Pennsylvania, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky. It's just been incredible. And you know how they found us is through social media. They're not seeing it on the news. The news mostly covered Asheville.
Yep.
And so people just saw it and said, gosh, we want to go down and help.
That's one thing we've noticed is Asheville's getting, they get some national coverage. Areas like this, you're getting maybe a little from YouTubers.
Very little.
Like East Tennessee hardly gets anything.
Right.
And I just don't get it.
Well,
considering the scale of it, I mean, look, you look across the stream and you got houses just falling in.
I know, it's horrible.
Up and down the water.
I mean, I hate to say this, but it really does kind of feel like if you're from Mitchell, Avery, these counties, it just kind of feels like our government said, well, sorry, and no one has showed up.
Yeah.
And that has been very disappointing. I love this country, we're patriots, but the lack of support has been really sad. But where we've been blessed is you've seen the goodwill in people and your faith in humanity is restored.
It's really what's
when you
saving
have these
everyone.
it is.
Yeah.
It's absolutely what's keeping people afloat, keeping your spirits up. And it really has been. I mean, it's a God thing, brother. It's a God thing. He has so blessed us that people, complete strangers, have come to us to help. And I don't know that we would reopen if it weren't for these people.
Those are the people coming together, isn't it?
Yes.
It's really believers, and
it is.
that's just amazing.
It truly is.
I think this storm brought that out and kind of shows people that, I guess.
Well, and I've heard a lot of people say it, and it's true. When you have these catastrophes, it usually does bring out the best in people. Sad that sometimes it takes that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, people are united. They come together. And we've had, and I'm really proud of this, we have had all types of people. We've had Asian Americans, African Americans, whites, all over. And for so long the news just told us, oh, there's so much racism and hate in this country. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm seeing beautiful brothers and sisters in Christ. They don't care about anything other than, hey, we want to be the hands and feet. Because, I mean, that's what Christ would ask us to do.
Right.
We help each other. You help widows. You help those in need.
Isn't that amazing?
And the outpouring has literally brought us to tears. It's just been incredible. And I don't know where we'd be if it weren't for it.
I mean, it may not even be possible, it sounds like, if you're not getting government support of any kind.
And again, I'm still hopeful. I think when the new administration gets in and Congress hopefully will intervene, I will tell you, I don't know why they can have emergency sessions to fund Ukraine and they can't help us. That part has been a bitter pill to swallow. I've
heard recently they had they passed like billions in funding. And
did they? That may have happened.
Listed a bunch of things. I think farms probably, and I don't know if it's going to help businesses, but I hope.
Well,
you never know.
For the farmers, right? I mean, they got to do something.
Yep.
But it is a long road. Obviously, you can see the extent of the damage it's going to take.
So at least 2025, it's going to be over here. This side?
That's what I would think. I would envision maybe to the bathhouse or just past. Initially, we'll start on this end.
Is it
and
mostly
then work our way down?
tenting, cabins, and RV
So we
sites?
did all three. We had cabins, RV sites, tent sites, and you know, we want to bring all of that
There
back.
will be some back. There will be all of them back by 2025.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
that's our goal. We'll need to get several cabins. We had 3 that washed away, so we'll try to get new cabins here. And then, like I said, just kind of reimagine the campground.
Yeah. So I know people around here don't like asking for help.
It is hard.
Just a thing. So just be honest. Do you have all of the funding and support you need to get that 2025 goal done, or do you not?
No, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't at this time, no. I mean, the sad part, and it's not unique to us, but nobody around here at this elevation had flood insurance. It's just, you don't anticipate this.
Mhm.
So when we lost everything overnight, it's 100% lost. There was no insurance, no help there.
So even with existing help from the churches, donations, you're pretty short of where you need to be, right?
Yeah. I mean, by 6 figures and then some.
6 figures.
It's going to be a lot. But
Yeah.
you know, you have to put in all the infrastructure. You have to redo your amenities, and we'll get there again. But
you have a lot of faith.
well, I do. We are, brother. We just in the last year, if you knew, we've been through a lot, but God has always been faithful. I actually had 2 open heart surgeries last year, and He got me through that. He'll get us through this.
You believe He'll get you through this?
With all my heart.
Yeah.
I have 0 doubts. God's batted 1,000 in my life, brother. I've seen over and over Him just do what His word says. He will not leave or forsake His children who love Him. And He has, you know, people do contact us and ask what we can do to help, and we tell them always the same thing: prayer, boots on the ground if they're, you know, feel enabled or have equipment and want to come up, or financial donations. But to me, all 3 are equally valuable.
Okay.
Because those prayers are what have brought these people to us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe anything's by accident. I believe God orchestrates everything.
Yep.
So we've been very, very grateful. But you all right, it is very hard. I would have never started a GoFundMe. That's not my generation thing. Didn't feel right. But one of our campers said, Christopher, let us do this. If people want to do it, they'll do it. You don't have to ask. You don't have to beat down doors, which I will not. But we've been very blessed.
So I will be sharing, I'm going to share your GoFundMe, and we've been really careful about GoFundMes because you said the storms bring out a lot of the good.
But it brings out bad.
It brings out the bad, and there are so many.
We've seen that here too.
Oh man, there are so many organizations that are just doing GoFundMes.
Yep.
And not doing what they say they're going to do.
Yep.
And so, at least people know you are a local business. You've been here since 2009. We know that. So, there's a safe one, right?
I believe so, and most people do know that. As you said, the campground it is well known. It has been respected. I'm very proud that we have, you know, really, really good reviews, really goodwill here.
Yeah.
Because we do have a beautiful property, and all you got to do is keep it up and love people, and they remember how you made them feel.
You've got a long history, and people believe in you.
We have. That's where we've been very, very blessed.
Okay. Well, again, I didn't realize your property goes out that far, so I didn't realize the scope of your work is as big as it actually is. But
it really is.
It sounds like.
But again, it's like an elephant. You do it one bite at a time.
One piece at a time.
And we're going to work our way. But you know, you have to look at it like that, compartmentalized.
Otherwise, it feels like overwhelming.
It does, brother. Being honest, it
like
does.
Climbing a mountain.
Yep.
One step at a time.
But it's one step at a time.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming out and just spreading awareness for this whole community. We love this community. And I want to end with this. The volunteers that have come, it has been beautiful how much they love this community. And they see, and we're very proud of this. Everybody in this area is why my wife and I came up. I'd bet 99% of the people are churched. Family generations still together. So you have that family, that faith. Brother, that's priceless. And people that have come down have been like, we've never met such kind people. They're not sitting waiting for a handout. They're out here working. I mean, when this first happened and all the roads and all the trees, the only reason you could get out was all the locals that got out with the tractors or chainsaws. There's no government doing it. It was all the people.
Putting the local roads back together.
And I'm very proud of that, because that shows the strength, the resolve, the love of this community. And people are seeing it that aren't even from here. They're coming in and going, wow, this is amazing. And we said, yes, this is why we came here.
It is amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, this Yancey, Mitchell, this whole part of Western North Carolina, we see that. It's a
Yeah.
lot like East Tennessee.
Yes.
And you're right. It's the it really is. I mean, it's a close knit community. Everybody says that in a small town. But
it's
you're right.
true.
The level of faith people have, and that brings them together. It's just this element that there's a lot of power to it. There's a
Yes.
lot of power to it.
Oh, yes.
Yep, it's amazing, and I wish you luck. I'm gonna stay connected with you, see how your progress
you.
goes. We may
Appreciate
come
that.
and see how.
We'd love for you to come
yeah.
back when it's rebuilt.
Maybe do some work
hate-
with you even.
I hate that you didn't stay before, but I guess you said you went through.
We did.
You
We were
saw it
doing.
when
Yeah,
it
we
was-
were.
yeah.
We were with a crew, doing some drone work for some of the
Yeah.
missing, some of the people that were missing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we were up to. But now I'm realizing people want to hear what's happening. They want
Right.
to see what's going on.
Well,
they
they
want to
do.
meet people. They want to hear the stories, and I realize that's more meaningful
Mhm.
than anything else someone can do.
Well, it's
So,
personal.
yeah.
And yeah, it is.
Yep.
It
Yep.
is.
So thank you,
Well,
Chris.
thank you, brother. I've
Keep-
really enjoyed talking to you.
Nice
Again,
talking to you, too.
I appreciate you coming out and
Absolutely.
doing what you're doing.
All right. Good luck with
God
everything.
bless. Thank
All
you,
right.
sir.
One thing I want you all to know about me is that I am but a mustard seed compared to the faith displayed by Christopher Caudle. I'm not going to lie to you all. If my life's work had washed down the river, I don't know if my faith in God would be as strong as his. I know that's a failing on my part, because if God's been batting 1,000 in your life, why would you doubt? Chris doesn't. He's confident that Buck Hill Campground, despite its current state with debris and twisted metal littering the ground, will return not only to what it once was, but to a future vision that's even better. Henry David Thoreau once wrote, "The smallest seed of faith is better than the largest fruit of happiness." And isn't that ironic? We all spend our entire lives chasing happiness, yet in the darkest hour, when all is destroyed and the temptation to give up is the strongest, when all hope of happiness seems to be lost, you catch glimmers of true happiness, neighbors and friends coming to your aid, a stranger giving you a hug of encouragement, everyone who has seen a glimpse of your light in the world begging for that light to keep shining because they need you. The world needs you. It's just a campground, you may say, but is it? Or is it a place where mom and dad and son and daughter, for at least a few days out of their busy lives, come together around a campfire or at the arcade and actually have fun together? For a few moments they sit on a log together and watch an outdoor movie with other families who are finally, in that moment, understanding what true happiness really is. Buck Hill Campground isn't just a campground, it's an Appalachian campground, dripping with the magic of the mountains and the divine presence of God that brings. I'm not going to pretend I'm as steeped in faith as men like Chris. I still have one foot in science and I have doubts. But seeing a man like Chris looking at his flattened campground, nothing more than a field of mud and busted bathhouse, look me in the face and say with nothing less than pure confidence that the campground will be even better than it was before Hurricane Helene. That, my friends, is faith that humbles. It's a light that burns into your soul and reminds you that sometimes you doubt when you shouldn't. That sometimes in life, when all is lost, the difference between those who give up and those who put on their boots and walk back into the mud to get back to work is just that, faith. Faith that even when you're standing in the middle of a storm, tomorrow will be beautiful again.